Exodus chapter 14. And Yahweh speaks to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel. And they turn back and encamp before Pi-Hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, before al-Zephon. You encamp in front of it by the sea. And Pharaoh has said of the sons of Israel, They are entangled in the land. The wilderness has shut on them. And I have strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he has pursued after them. And I am honored by Pharaoh, and by all his force, and the Egyptians have known that I am Yahweh. And they do so. And it is declared to the king of Egypt that the people have fled. And the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants is turned against the people, and they say, What is this we have done, that we have sent Israel away from our service? And he harnesses his chariot, and he has taken his people with him. And he takes 600 chosen chariots, even all the chariots of Egypt, and captains over them all. And Yahweh strengthens the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursues after the sons of Israel. And the sons of Israel are going out with a high hand. And the Egyptians pursue after them, and all the chariot horses of Pharaoh and his horsemen and his force overtake them, encamping by the sea, by Pi-Hahiroth, before al-Zephon. And Pharaoh has drawn near, and the sons of Israel lift up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians are journeying after them. And they fear exceedingly, and the sons of Israel cry to Yahweh. And they say to Moses, Because there are no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in a wilderness? What is this you have done to us, to bring us out from Egypt? Is this not the word which we spoke to you in Egypt, saying, Cease from us, and we serve the Egyptians? For it is better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in a wilderness. And Moses says to the people, Do not fear, station yourselves and see the salvation of Yahweh, which he does for you this day. For as you have seen the Egyptians today, you add no more to see them for all time. Yahweh fights for you, and you keep silent. And Yahweh says to Moses, Why do you cry to me? Speak to the sons of Israel, and they journey. And you, lift up your rod, and stretch out your hand toward the sea, and cleave it. And the sons of Israel go into the midst of the sea on dry land. And I, behold, I am strengthening the heart of the Egyptians, and they go in after them, and I am honored by Pharaoh, and by all his force, by his chariots and by his horsemen. And the Egyptians have known that I am Yahweh, and my being honored by Pharaoh and by his chariots and by his horsemen. And the messenger of God, who is going before the camp of Israel, journeys and goes at their rear. And the pillar of the cloud journeys from their front, and stands at their rear, and comes in between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And the cloud and the darkness are, and he enlightens the night, and the one has not drawn near to the other all the night. And Moses stretches out his hand toward the sea, and Yahweh causes the sea to go on by a strong east wind all the night, and makes the sea become dry ground. And the waters are cleaved, and the sons of Israel go into the midst of the sea on dry land, and the waters are a wall to them on their right and on their left. And the Egyptians pursue and go in after them, all the horses of Pharaoh, his chariots and his horsemen, into the midst of the sea. And it comes to pass in the morning watch that Yahweh looks to the camp of the Egyptians through the pillar of the fire and of the cloud, and troubles the camp of the Egyptians, and turns aside the wheels of their chariots, and they lead them with difficulty. And the Egyptians say, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for Yahweh is fighting for them against the Egyptians. And Yahweh says to Moses, Stretch out your hand toward the sea, and the waters turn back on the Egyptians, on their chariots, and on their horsemen. And Moses stretches out his hand toward the sea, and the sea turns back at the turning of the morning to its perennial flow. And the Egyptians are fleeing at its coming, and Yahweh shakes off the Egyptians in the midst of the sea, and the waters turn back and cover the chariots and the horsemen, even all the force of Pharaoh, who are coming in after them into the sea. There has not been left even one of them. And the sons of Israel have gone on dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters are a wall to them, on their right and on their left. And Yahweh saves Israel out of the hand of the Egyptians in that day. And Israel sees the Egyptians dead on the seashore. And Israel sees the great hand with which Yahweh has worked against the Egyptians. And the people fear Yahweh, and remain steadfast in Yahweh and in his servant Moses.